Hi, I'm Elisa Romeo, and thank you for watching Elisa Romeo TV. Today I'm really excited to be talking about this subject. It's really an important one and something that we can all do, but most of us think that it's just way beyond our abilities, which is the ability to talk to our loved ones on the other side. So what is the other side? That just means when we die, we cross over into another dimension. When we pass away, we go to that other vibrational realm that's just as real as this physical 3D, the third dimension realm, yet we can often dismiss it because it's subtle. It's a different vibrational plane. So when us here in the 3D are speaking with our loved ones on the other side, we have to learn to become very still and quiet in order to receive the information from them, which usually means slowing way down and not judging from the front of our head in the analyzer, but being not cynical and open enough to have our own direct experience with our loved ones. The reality is we can all do this. We are inherently spirits having a human experience, and it is our birthright to be able to do this. It's actually a remembering, which means a rejoining, of what we already know, as opposed to something you have to actually learn. So the good news is you can already do this, you just don't know it, and it takes a little practice to remember how you do it. So I spoke in some of my other videos about my experience out of my body that I have had, and also speaking to my father who's crossed over. And so both of those experiences have taught me about this. So this isn't information coming from a book or coming from other people. This is my own direct experience, and I hope you have your own direct experience, because that's the only way to have the experiences, wouldn't you say? So it does take a little practice and a fake it till you make it attitude, so don't get discouraged if it takes a little time to really hone your particular way of receiving information, becoming psychic, or having intuitions. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the different forms of intuition so you can start to get familiar and think about how are you receiving information. So the first way we receive information is through the second chakra, chakra is a Sanskrit word which means spinning wheel. And we have these energy centers throughout our body, up and down our spine, just like the acupuncture points. The second chakra is the chakra that has to do with feeling. And so the term is clairsentience, which means clear feeling. Clair just means clear. So through the second chakra, we receive the information of feeling. So what that looks like with someone who has crossed over is you have an emotional, overwhelming sense that they're there in the room with you. You might suddenly start crying, or you just remember them. It's almost like they're standing next to you and you can feel them completely. You remember what they felt like, and you might find yourself crying. And that's one way that we know they're there. Another form is the fifth chakra, which is clairaudience, and it goes to the ears too, the ear channels, and that's clear hearing. So the ability to hear spirits, to speak telepathically to them through our minds, but it'll come through like a hearing. We can also hear spirits that are here. You can learn to psychically communicate with loved ones that haven't crossed over, and you can do all kinds of things with clairaudience. But the way we do that with our loved ones who've crossed over is we begin to have conversations with them and hear what they're saying to us. You might even have a dream at night where you're awoken with their voice. You just heard their voice. It was like they were here again. And often that's an astral travel where there is real communication happening, as opposed to just the type of dream where you're remembering them. It's usually a visitation in the astral realm at night. Another way that we receive information is through the sixth chakra, the clairvoyant center, clear seeing. So that's through the visual form. And that is like the same way when we dream at night, you receive visual pictures. A lot of people receive information like that where they daydream, close their eyes. And so that's one way we become psychic, is to receive the pictures. And we can train that and learn to get better at all these different forms. And it's a really great neutral way to receive information. So what that looks like is seeing spirits. You might close your eyes and just see the spirits in the room, or that might happen at night when you're alone in your room, or it might be so clear, your sixth chakra, that it happens during the daytime when you're seeing auras around people, or the energy cords that connect people, and heightening your sight. So that's the clear seeing. The clairgnosis on the top of the head, the seventh chakra, is the clear knowing, where you just know something with your whole body, and it has nothing to do with even rational mind or logical facts. It's just, you just know it in its embodied sense, where there might be goosebumps. Your whole body is just sure that your loved one is in the room, is back, or has sent you a message. So those are the different forms. I talk more about it if you're interested in this over on my website, eliseromeo.com, my book, Authentic Intuition. There's a quiz and exercises to help you hone these forms of knowing. So after you've kind of assessed what way you get information, you have to meditate, relax your body, and shut down the external stimulus so that you can really go in and start to receive those subtle but real powerful information coming from that other plane from your loved ones. So that usually starts with 10 deep breaths, getting quiet and still, and that's something that we can always get better at and practice to get more clear. It also is good to have a fake it till you make it attitude in the beginning, because our rational minds, our logical minds are so quick to judge and just think it's stupid and just crap and what are we doing? Why are we wasting our time? They're gone. We're cynical and angry, and that's okay too, but just to have some self-love and know that a lot's going on that our rational minds can't wrap their head around. So just try to reserve judgment and try it. Be open to it. You don't have to know it's for sure, and I don't ever want you to just believe me because I'm saying it. I want you to be open enough to have your own experience and see for yourself. So the other way that people communicate with us from the other side is through the physical, through either synchronicities, which means meaningful coincidences, such as maybe it's your song with them that comes on every time you get in the car, and you just, it's like bizarre how often you're hearing the song, or maybe they start sending you hummingbirds or ladybugs or butterflies as symbols to let you know that they're there and they're okay. Sometimes they will get you to like be drawn energetically to a clock in the room that's every day the time that they passed away, to send you a message that way. I knew a woman who was communicating with a man who'd crossed over, and he was trying to get in contact with his son, and she had some of those electric candles you put the batteries in, and it was set for 6 p.m. every night, and she noticed at like 4:34 on the dot every evening it would flicker and go on, and she thought it was really weird no matter how much she messed with the timing. So she asked the son, "What time did your dad die?" just out of curiosity, and he said 4:34, and she just had chills down her whole body knowing that that was one way he was trying to contact his son. The next thing to remember is when you're trying to connect to one of your loved ones who've crossed over, you need to set the clear and powerful intention that you want to speak to them. What this does is it kind of gives them a little tug on their spirit to be aware that you're trying to get into contact so that they can shift their attention to you. You also don't need to worry about if, you know, your cousin or sister is trying to talk to that spirit at the same time, because when we don't have a body, we can bilocate and be in more than one place at one time, so they can be listening to you and your brother-in-law at the same time if you're talking to them. You want to set the clear intention to be speaking to them, so you don't also just kind of bring in any spirit that's hanging around as like, oh, cool, there's a being down there who can hear me in a physical body, because we can bring in all kinds of spirits. So you're just being really clear to speak to your loved one. And if you do get interference from other spirits, you're just like, hello, but no, I'm not going to speak with you. I'm trying to speak to my loved one. A lot of spirits come to me and tell me that it's frustrating for them to come back to their loved ones, and when they can't contact them because the loved one is so upset, like when we're down here like, where are they? I wish I could speak to them. I don't know where they are. When they can be 2 feet away from you, sending you love, comfort, and validation and information. And if we're so in our own interpretation of things, sometimes that like blocks us from being able to connect. So just know that more is happening than you can understand, and be open to an experience of it. I definitely tell all my friends and family, when I die, I'm going to come back and talk to you, so look for the signs and be open to me speaking with you. Start practicing now. And lastly, it's good to remember that when we cross over, we have a life review, and we spiritually evolve rapidly when we cross over. A lot of things that don't make sense down here make sense there. And sometimes when we incarnate and we have trauma from this lifetime, personality disorders, alcoholism, mental illness, as a spirit, we don't have those things all the time. Most likely we don't when we successfully cross over. So I once had a client who, she had a horrible alcoholic, abusive mother, and she was having a session with me. Her mother came through, and she did not want to talk to her mother because she hated her mother. And then her mother was telling me, I want to apologize. I learned so much when I crossed over. Please let her know that I'm different now. And she was a very intuitive woman, and she could start to feel that this was true and feel the direct relationship with her mother. So it's important for you also to know that you need to have a relationship that's in present time with the spirit and not projective based on what your relationship was when they were here incarnated, because they might be very different. There's still an essential core of them that will be the same, but we still evolve on the other side. So they might have learned a lot of things. My father, when he came back, told me a lot of things about what he learned in his crossing over and how to speak to the other side and all of that. So if you're interested in these kind of things, subscribe to my channel. Also, if you head over to my website, ElisaRomeo.com, and you get on my email list, I'll send you a free book. That's 10 ways to get closer to your soul. And that's a way to learn to be quiet, connect yourself as a soul, and do those meditative practices that will help you also connect to your loved ones. So thanks for listening, and have a blessed and loved day. Take care.